TV Live, I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott. Of course, honored to be with you all today. We are in Arizona this hour, where the cult mom conspiracy trial for Lori Vallow Daybell begins next week. Daybell is accused of conspiring to murder her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, and for attempting to murder her niece's estranged husband, Brandon Boudreaux. Charles Vallow was shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox, back in July of 2019, and what was determined as self-defense after a fight broke out in the home where Lori was living. For more on the shooting of Charles Vallow, here's our own Court TV anchor, Ted Rowlands.
Brother-in-law visiting from Houston.
This is dash cam video from the Chandler Police Department obtained by Court TV. Officers are responding to the call that Lori Vallow's husband, Charles, has just been shot by her brother, Alex Cox.
And you have the subject on the phone step out of the residence with his hands empty.
Two officers are waiting for Alex Cox with guns drawn as he walks out of the house.
Come out this way, man. You know, no weapons?
No weapons on me.
All right, come on out this way.
Yep.
I'm going to have you have a seat right here on the curb.
Yep. Who else is in the house? No one else is in the house. Okay, just have a seat right there. Let's get FD in here.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
18, seat secure. We got the gentleman out. Have fire rolling.
One officer goes into the house. The other asks Alex what happened.
What happened today? How did it get to this?
I don't know. He was enraged.
What's going on? What happened?
Oh. He was talking with my sister earlier.
No, what happened today, though? Like, just in the last 20 minutes.
He came at me with a bat.
At first, Alex doesn't seem to have a clear response as to what happened.
What was he accusing you of?
He was just yelling at me. I just went back to the living room. Like, what is your problem?
With the gun again?
Yes. And I said, I want you to put that bat down. And he wouldn't do it. And he's like, and he came at me with the bat again after he'd already hit me in the head. So I shot him to stop him.
Okay, then what happened?
That was it.
The officer in the house encounters the body of Charles Vallow in the front room, lying on the floor. Next to the body is the baseball bat that Alex claims Charles used to hit him. After checking his pulse, the officer clears the house as the fire department arrives to pronounce him dead.
This guy, his last name is Vallow. V-A-L-L-O.
Meanwhile, outside, Lori and Tylee arrive.
Does your husband live here or no?
No, he lives in Houston.
Gotcha.
We just moved in here.
Gotcha. How long have you guys lived here?
I'm sorry?
How long have you lived here?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez. Yeah, okay.
That's why the neighbors don't know us.
Gotcha.
Like, hi, neighbor, sorry.
Are you working at all?
No.
Okay. And you're still about 5'6"? 120?
The officer then gets some personal information from Tylee.
Blonde, too. You guys, I'm gonna list you as a blonde young lady here. And then blue eyes?
Yeah.
You have very blue eyes. That's not under debate.
The officer finally goes to debrief detectives that have just arrived on scene.
Wife, husband got into a verbal argument. Brother steps in and says, just get at some point, the niece grabs the bat and is poking her dad. Dad takes the bat away. They decide to leave. Everyone leaves. There's a son, too, a younger son. Her son, he's not here either. So wife who lives here, her daughter, her son, they all leave. Her brother staying here, visiting, and the husband. They get into it. He's like, he says they got into an argument. Husband hit him in the head with a bat. The bat's right next to the brother says, that goes to his room, grabs his gun, his own gun, goes back out, doesn't stay in the room, doesn't lock the door, doesn't call us, but goes back out, confronts him, says, drop the bat. Guy doesn't drop the bat. He says he shoots him. Goes back into his room, puts his gun away, grabs his phone, cleans his head up, calls 911.
Lori Daybell, who was just Lori Vallow at the time, spoke to police following her husband's death, painting a picture of a troubled marriage. Take a listen.
You live at the house, right? Okay. Okay, I know this sounds silly, but it's probably the easiest way to start is just to tell me what happened. And then so you can start what makes the most sense to you, and we'll just work our way through, and I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions just to kind of clarify.
Sure.
So I know you talked to the initial patrol officer.
And he just got information. He didn't say
Okay.
anything.
So yeah, if you can just kind of tell me kind of what happened. It sounds like some of this may have started last night or something along those lines.
Right.
So start where you think it makes the most sense.
Okay, so,
I told you, it's a crazy question.
well, so we moved into this house 3 weeks ago because he offered to get me a house here where all my family is. So we were in Houston. And so he's like, we had decided to separate or whatever. So he's like, well, I'll pay for a house for you and for JJ and whatever, because he's all about JJ. He's never about Tylee, but he's all about JJ. Because we adopted him together. He's his great nephew. We adopted him as a baby. And so we adopted him as a baby, and so we've been raising him together. And he travels all the time for business, so he's used to just going back and forth. So he's always gone like Monday through Friday. So he came when we first moved in and brought me stuff from Houston, like a U-Haul, and then he hasn't been back. But it's all these threats on my phone all the time, you know, like whatever, all these things. And then he told me...
What kind of threats?
Just... you'd have to read them to see, but he's always mad at me, right? And he doesn't want a divorce, but I don't like him and don't want to deal with him, so that's just how it is. Like, so we married for 14 years, we dealt with it for 14 years, of him being horrible to her. Like, he gets in huge fights with her, a lot of things. But anyway, so he said, I'm coming on Wednesday night. All of a sudden, I want to see JJ. And I told him, I said, I will never keep JJ from you. You can come see him whenever you want to. Come take him to school, whatever. Like, I'm not going to do that.
So when you initially moved, he had said he was going to buy you a house. So you moved here with your...
Yeah, he was going to rent us a house.
And so you moved...
All my family lives here. So we lived here for a long time.
Okay.
And then he moved us to Houston.
Okay.
And we were there with my son. He was out of school. He didn't have any of his, like, services, his DDD, his anything. He, like, ripped him out of school and said, we're moving. Okay. And I didn't go with him at first. And he took him. And I let him take him, and I didn't file anything or whatever. And then he filed something against me and said, I'm only going to get supervised visits because I'm crazy and blah, 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 you know, the story. And so I just didn't talk to him for like 30 days and let him take care of him and let him see what I've been doing for the past 7 years, because men need to do that. You know, I have 5 kids. I have grown kids. I have grandkids. Like, okay, you're going to threaten me that you're not going to let me see my child without supervised visitation? Okay, do it for 30 days and see how long it lasts. You're begging me to come pick him up. Yeah. Which he did. She's like, come back, and whatever. So I moved in with them to Houston for the family, you know, and Tylee went with me. We drove to Houston from here and left all our family and all his support, all my son's support, like his cousins, everything. And we were there, and I enrolled him in school there. I tried to start all his services, and it takes forever. Yeah. You know, it takes so long to get that done.
There's no easy transferring.
There's no easy transferring.
You start from the beginning.
It's a totally new thing. Yeah. And he didn't do any of it in those 30 days. So he just had gone without services, without even applying. And I'm like, do you even realize? Because he didn't ever do it in the first place. I did it. Long story. I'll keep it short. He hasn't been here in a couple weeks since we moved in. He came. He was very nasty when he was there, but he travels for business. So he went back to the Houston house, and he's like, I'm coming on Wednesday night, and I'm going to come pick up JJ and take him to school Thursday. Pick him up Thursday, take him Friday, whatever. And I said, Casey wanted to come to the house. And I said, you can't come stay at this house because you can't get along with Tylee. She's a minor. She has to live here. Yeah. So because he gets in huge fights up there. Okay. And she hates him. And so I'm like, you can't stay at the house, so I will book you a hotel, because he stays in hotels all the time because he travels for business, and the business pays for it, right? So I said, I will book you a hotel nearby.
What does he do?
He works with teachers in their retirement plans, but he goes to them at their school. He mostly works in California, no matter where we live. And we lived in Hawaii. He'd work in California. He'd work in Texas. He has like books of business in different areas. And so he just goes wherever. It kind of just gives him freedom that he doesn't have to stay home every day and take care of special needs. Yeah. It's like an excuse, right? So I've done that myself for the past 7 years anyway. And I was a single mom before I married him with my 2 kids. Yeah. And he had 2 kids. We got married, tried to make a family. You know, how it goes. Anyway. So he said he was coming last night. I said, well, you can't stay at this house because you can't get along with Tylee. I'll get you a hotel and you can come plead with JJ. But he goes to school all day.
Yeah.
I got him back into his school. His services, I met with the DDD yesterday, and they finally are getting his services back. But we're paying $125 a day to have him back at school because he's so out of his routine. He's been a nightmare on the floor, kicking stuff, hitting stuff, walls. Like, he just ripped him out of his life.
Yeah.
So, anyway, just how he is because he only thinks about himself. So. He says, come in to get JJ, and JJ's like, I don't want Dad, because he knows Dad took him away, so he was freaking out, right? So I didn't tell him he was even coming, like, Dad's going to come take you to school, I think. So he didn't bother me last night, which I was surprised. I was expecting kind of an ambush for him to kind of, like, come over or be just mean and say, it's my house, I'm on the lease, I'm going to stay here, kind of thing, because that's kind of his macho attitude.
Coming up, Lori tells the police that Charles Vallow was acting weird that day and kept grabbing for her phone before things began to escalate. That's coming up right after the break.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, should the accused United Healthcare CEO shooter get a laptop while behind bars? We're diving deeper into these new developments.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
The jury was sequestered for 9 months.
These people were too beat down to even try to fight for their own conviction.
Trial and Error. Why did O.J. win? Season finale Sunday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Court TV.
He goes nuts. He's gone nuts on us a lot of times. Tylee and I have had to leave with JJ over the years probably 5 times and just stay in a hotel for 2 days because he goes nuts. Like, you don't know what's going to set him off. Like, whatever. And she's mad at me for always, like, going back. But we had JJ and he's special needs and it's really hard. Like, it's even hard to take care of it by yourself.
So when you say he goes nuts, that can mean a lot of different things.
Right.
So goes nuts like yelling and screaming.
Yeah,
goes
yelling
nuts
and screaming.
Like breaking
like,
things.
Yes.
Goes nuts like physical violence.
He's never really, besides like grabbing us and pushing us, but not like punching us or something. But with Tylee, he has gotten physical.
Okay.
Before, and with my grown son.
Back now to the Arizona trial, where we are looking ahead to the cult mom conspiracy trial for Lori Vallow Daybell starting this month. Daybell is accused of conspiring to kill her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, and for attempting to murder her niece's estranged husband. Vallow Charles was shot and killed in July of 2019 by Lori's brother, Alex Cox. But Alex claimed it was done in self-defense after Charles Vallow began attacking him. Let's listen now to more of Daybell's interview with police following that fatal shooting.
He came this morning. I was getting JJ ready.
So he got in last night, but he wasn't at the house last night.
Yeah, I didn't hear from him, except for he texted me and said, I'll be there at 7:30 to pick up JJ.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that was good, because I didn't hear from him. And then he came over in the morning and he's like banging on the door. I'm like, oh great, here we go, you know. And I was just gonna be nice. I was just gonna be nice as possible. And I had JJ stuff all ready for school. And so.
Do you remember about what time he got there?
He said he'd be there at 7:30, but it was more like 7:40-ish or 7:35. I don't know.
Okay.
But I remember thinking, looking at the clock, and he wasn't there at 7:30, and he's usually Mr. On time. Yes. So I was like, okay. And then JJ was like, oh, Dad. And then he was like, Mommy, and like ran to me and was like holding me. He's like, you're not taking me to school. And I was like, it's okay, Dad, we can just drive you to school. It's not a big deal. You know, just trying to make it whatever.
Calm.
Yeah, calm. And then he was just being real smirky and real like jerky, you know, to me. And I was like ignoring him, whatever. And so he was like,
your brother lives there with you?
No.
Okay.
He had stayed with me last night because I was worried he was going to come over and cause trouble with me.
Okay.
And just wanted someone else there, like my brother there, because I trust my brother. And it's been a long story. Like, I had to go live at my brother's when he took JJ. And, you know, he's just been difficult. So, anyway. So I got JJ's stuff ready. And he was like, well, and he's like this about timing. He's like, I'm leaving in 20 minutes because it's like 15 minutes to the school and like you can't get there early. They don't open the gates until 8:20 or something like that. And I said, well, why don't you just go now? I don't want him in the house. I'm like, why don't you just go now and take him to Burger King, because that's what he likes for breakfast. And he's very particular about food. Like, he wanted chicken fries for breakfast and a Sprite. Like, and I just give him what he wants, because if you don't give him what he wants, then it's like on the floor screaming, dragging him into school. Like, and he's big and he's heavy and it's hard for me to handle. But anyway, so I said, just go. And so he said, okay. So I gave him a backpack. He got in the car. This is his MO, right? He always leaves something in the house and comes back. He never leaves the first time. I always expect my husband to come back into the house, right? So I guess he had left his phone on the counter.
So he initially went off with a backpack and with JJ?
And so he put them in the car, in the driveway, and then he came back in, right? So I kissed JJ goodbye. He came back in, and his phone was on the counter, and I had his phone. And he was like, give me my phone. And I was like, why don't you show me your text that you've been texting, blah, 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 you know, whatever. Because he's like acting really weird, like he's plotting something against me. Like, I'm like, why are you even here? Like, what did you come here for, you know? He's been talking to my other brother, and my brother came into town at the same time last night, and I haven't talked to my brother in a while, my other brother, and I was like, and so he was texting him on the phone when he first got to my house, and I'm like, why are you texting Adam? Like, do you even talk to him? Like, my other brother. And, you know, he's been telling me all these texts, like, you're going down, blah, 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 blah. He's blaming me for our marriage breaking up and my niece getting divorced and my friend getting divorced. He said, I'm a destroyer of families because I want everybody to get divorced. I'm like, what would my motivation be for people getting divorced? So I could babysit the kids more? Like, why would I have any control over what people do?
Yeah.
So it's just very odd. But anyway, he goes nuts. He's gone nuts on us a lot of times. Tylee and I have had to leave with JJ over the years probably 5 times and just stay in a hotel for 2 days because he goes nuts. Like, you don't know what's going to set him off. Like, whatever. And she's mad at me for always, like, going back. But we had JJ and he's special needs and it's really hard. Like, it's even hard to take care of it by yourself.
So when you say he goes nuts, that can mean a lot of different things.
Right.
So goes nuts like yelling and screaming.
Yeah,
goes
yelling
nuts
and screaming.
Like breaking
like,
things.
Yes.
Goes nuts like physical violence.
He's never really, besides like grabbing us or pushing us, but not like punching us or something. But with Tylee, he has gotten physical. Before. And with my grown son.
Like physical how?
Like got into a physical fist fight with my son when he was 16.
Okay.
And he came after Tylee 2 times in Hawaii.
Okay.
And like went like he was going to hit her, but then I got in between them. Right.
How old was she when that happened?
Probably 13 and 14.
Okay.
I have so many thoughts about this particular interview, so it's a perfect time to bring in former Deputy Public Defender Philip Dubé and trial attorney Alexis Rosenberg. Thank you both for being on with us. Alexis, let me start with you because one of the things that stood out to me and I think to a lot of viewers is here she is talking with the police about her dead husband, 4th husband, shot to death by her own brother, and yet she seems so light and airy to me during this interview.
I agree. I have so many thoughts. First, it's like the whole interview is like she's having a chat with her friend about going in, getting coffee and lunch, and she's a little aggravated with her husband. I mean, let's not forget, like you said, we've got a dead husband who's still her husband that her brother shot on the floor of her house. So, I mean, this whole conversation, she does not seem rattled or upset by what actually happened at all. She's more, wants to tell about how she doesn't like him.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I want to play this, Philip, before I come to you, because there's another instance of this even closer in time to when the shooting happened. This was right after it happened. She's talking with the police. Watch together.
Let me get your information. Does your husband live here or no?
No,
oh.
this is in Houston.
Gotcha. Okay. You guys got it.
Separated.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me just get do you have a driver's license with you? I can just grab it. Thank you. L-O-R-I. What does your middle initial stand for?
Noreen.
Noreen. N-O. V-A-L-L. What's a phone number for you, Lori? You know, not in Santan, this is your home?
Right,
Gotcha.
right.
Okay.
We just moved in here.
Gotcha. How long have you guys lived here?
I'm sorry?
How long have you lived here?
Like 3 weeks.
Oh, geez. Yeah, okay.
That's why the neighbors don't know us.
Gotcha.
Like, hi neighbor, sorry.
Are you working at all?
No.
Okay. And you're still about 5'6"? Mm-hmm. 120?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, neighbor. Sorry, she's flirtatious with the police officer right after this happened. Again, her husband's dead. Her brother's sitting on a curb saying it was in self-defense. I don't know, Philip. It's really hard for me to think that she didn't know something about what was happening to be this way.
Well, put it this way. I don't think the videos hurt her. If anything, it makes her look like she's, blissfully ignorant of everything that happened, and that it looks like her brother acted in complete self-defense. There's just nothing to indicate that she had a hand in it, that she was in on it, or that she co-conspired with Alex or even Chad Daybell at that point. So I think from that point on, until the next event, it looks as if she was completely taken unawares. And the problem is she wasn't at all traumatized or sad about the death because their marriage was on the rocks anyway. It was on the verge of ending legally. So I don't really think that it was any love lost for her, and she's just recounting facts and answering questions as propounded. So to be honest with you, I think this video helps her.
All right, so spoken like a true public defender, because that gives that perspective of how it can be used to help her. Alexis, it is a conspiracy to commit murder charge. To prove a conspiracy, what are you looking for from the state?
Well, they're going to have to show that there was some agreement to do it, and there was some overt act that took place that to show that they had this agreement. I mean, I disagree with Philip. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking she is really a sociopath, but that's my opinion. I think they're going to have to show that agreement. We haven't really heard about that yet. They're just assuming it, so they are going to have to prove that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Philip, anything else you'd be looking for from the state to prove that agreement? Can it be an overt? Does it have to, does it have to be overt? Can it be something that can be assumed, so to speak, from correspondence? What are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. You could infer an agreement from circumstantial evidence. You don't need a text, you don't need an email, you don't even need a recorded conversation. You can look at what we call nonverbal conduct, sometimes assertive conduct, to see if there's some type of a wink and a nod and a gesture or other gesticulation to say, yeah, got it, we're in on it together, without actually articulating it. But I think it's the job of defense counsel, particularly in this case where death is on the line, to really explore mental defenses. And I know I'm going to catch a lot of hate for this, but she was right at the onset of menopause. I think she was 45 at the time of that interview. And I am telling you, if she already had a history of mental illness, there is a lot of literature out there to support how menopause to people who are already predisposed to mental illness can become psychotic, develop a delusional system. And the only way to treat it really is with medication and psychotherapy. And if she never got it, then it sounds like her lifestyle changes and everything else could have really exacerbated it and just wreaked havoc on her mental state. But we'll see. Maybe it'll be an aspect of the penalty phase.
And we'll see, too, because she's representing herself. She's chosen to do that. So is she going to raise any of those things? We're just going to have to wait and see. It is one that she's very articulate. She's very vocal in the motions hearing, so I expect her to be very vocal throughout the course of her own trial. Coming up next, stand by, please, both of you. Lori tells police that Charles was attacking the family with a bat and then recalls hearing the fatal gunshot. Stay tuned for more of Lori Daybell's police interview. That will be right after the break. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ashley Wilcott. Thank you so much for joining us. We are in Arizona. We're looking ahead to Lori Daybell's upcoming trial next week. She represents herself, and she stands accused of conspiring to kill her estranged husband, Charles Vallow, the summer of 2019. Charles was shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox, although Alex Cox was never charged. A key piece of evidence the jurors will likely see at trial is Lori's police interview following that incident. We're picking it up now with Lori telling police that Charles was attacking them with a bat before he was shot.
So this morning he comes back in and...
He comes back in, I wouldn't give him his phone. He was screaming at me to give him his phone. He was very worried about whatever was on his text that he did not want me to see. And so I was just holding it there, and he was screaming at me. And I was kind of walking around the house with it, so he couldn't get it. He's like reaching for it and stuff like that. And so Tylee came out of her room upset, and she had a bat, and she told him to leave her mother alone, right? So she was really whatever, and he's screaming at her, "Don't you hit me with that bat," and blah, 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 blah. And then my brother heard all the commotion because he was in there in bed, and so he came out into the main room, and I guess whatever.
What's your brother's name?
Alex.
Alex, okay.
And then he just started, he was screaming and he was super upset and whatever, and he's yelling at Tylee, "Don't you hit me with that bat," and blah, blah, blah. And so Tylee, I guess, I don't know if she swung at him or what, but he like grabbed the bat from Tylee and then went to like hit Tylee with the bat. It was, and I was right there, and they were right there, and my brother grabbed him from behind, like just to stop him from hitting Tylee.
You go like this, like he grabbed him like...
Yeah, from behind, like just kind of to pull him back. And then they got into the thing, and he's hitting him with the bat, and they're on the ground, like grappling around or whatever. And then, I mean, it was all
and he
quickly.
And he hit your brother with the bat while they were grappling and stuff?
Yeah, yes, he was hitting him with the bat, like swinging the bat, back and forth, and they were kind of like on the ground, and I was like freaking out trying to go around, knowing JJ was in the car, right? And so then he got up and he had the bat like this towards me, and I was going around the other side to try to just get out of his range where he couldn't hit me. And then I had told Tylee, because she was on the ground, because after he took the bat from her, she fell back. And so I told her, I was like, "Go get in the car with JJ. Like, I don't want JJ coming in to the house, and I wanted her out of the way. I wanted the kids out of the way, whatever this fight was going to be." And then,
do you remember what your husband or your brother were saying or yelling during all of this? If they were at all?
Just kind of, "Get off me, ow," or whatever. They were like, "Don't talk to my niece about whatever." Like, it was, I don't remember specifics, but they were kind of in the heat of it. I don't think there was many words that I remember.
So Tylee goes outside.
Yeah, she was outside.
And then what happened?
Then they got up from that, and my brother had stepped back, I guess, and then Charles was coming with me at the back and yelling at me to give him his phone still, because I had it in my hand. It was all really quickly. And then when I went around kind of in the circle, then my brother was there.
When you said when you were going around and he was coming at you with the bat, how was he holding the bat?
Just like that, like backwards. One arm.
Like he was swinging it backwards? He would have done like
he would have swung it backwards at me, not frontwards.
Okay, yeah.
He was a professional baseball player.
Okay.
So it wasn't a good idea for Tylee to get out of that.
Probably not the...
I mean, he played semi-pro.
Yeah.
And he was, But, and then I was kind of turned around, and we were all right there in that room, except for the kids had been outside by that time, and I heard the gunshot. And
so you heard the shot? Did you actually see the shot, or did you just hear it?
I had gone around to the kitchen to get away from him, and so back around. So I don't know if he went in the house.
I didn't, so I'm a little bit of a disadvantaged.
Yeah, so I didn't see the shot. I heard it, and then I came back around and I saw that he was on the ground.
Okay.
And was freaking out.
Yeah.
And so I was just freaking out, and it just went into mom mode. I'm like, I've got to go to get JJ to school. I've got to get to the kids. I got to get to the kids. Mm-hmm. And so I just went outside and to see if they were in there okay. I didn't want them coming back in the house when all that was going on. And got JJ in the car, and he was trying to come in. Mm-hmm. And Tylee was like looking at me with like the crazy eyes, like what just happened. And I told her to get in the car and we're going to take JJ to school. Mm-hmm. And I just left.
So there you heard it. According to Lori, Charles was hitting Alex with the bat and was coming at Lori as well. Now, coming up next, the police began to question Lori about her brother's involvement in the shooting of Charles Vallow. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
30 years later, and I remember...
Where was I when O.J. Simpson was found not guilty? I became obsessed with Court TV.
And we all said it, if the glove don't fit, if it doesn't fit, you must quit.
Senior year of high school, this guy at the top of the bleachers screams, O.J.'s innocent.
Such a divisive verdict.
You could hear the gasp. My jaw dropped.
Relive the verdict, trial and error. Why did O.J. win? Season finale Sunday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on Court TV.
Welcome back. As we look ahead to Lori Daybell's upcoming trial, we're looking back at police interviews from right after the death of her then-husband, Charles Vallow. Lori was estranged from Charles at the time. He had written in divorce filings that she was having a break from reality and that she claimed to be a goddess sent to usher in the biblical apocalypse. Charles was eventually shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox, on July 11th of 2019. We are picking it up right now, back with Lori's police interview, where she's described in detail the chaotic scene that day that he was shot.
When you came back in and you saw him on the ground, where was your brother? Did you see him where he was at?
Yeah, he was right in front of him.
Okay.
Like, it all happened very quickly. I feel like I was there because I was right there, and like a second later. Like, okay. I just went around the kitchen to get away from him.
Did your brother say anything to you at all? Do you remember?
No, we were both just in shock.
Okay.
Like, it was just I didn't say anything. I went out with the kids just to check on them first, and I was going to come back in maybe, but I didn't. I was like, I just have to get him to school.
Okay.
And call the police and come back, whatever.
Did anybody say did you or your brother say anything at some point about calling the police or calling 911? Do you remember?
Yeah, he called me.
Okay.
And he said, "Are you taking JJ to school?" And I said, "Yeah, we need to call the police." And he said, "Okay."
Okay. So he called you when you didn't come back inside, basically?
Right.
Okay.
Because I was like in the car for a minute, and then I was like, "What do I do?" And I didn't want JJ to go inside, and I didn't know what to do. And Tylee was freaking out. I was trying to get them away from the scene.
Understandable. Do you? And you may not know this, so, because I know you heard the shot, do you know at what point your brother had the gun? Do you know if he had it when they got in their first fight, or did he have to go get it, or do you know that at all?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
And do you remember if you ever heard your brother?
I didn't see him ever leave the room.
Okay.
So... It was so fast. All that was so fast. Like, him on the ground, rolling around, and I'm screaming. And
this probably happened in a couple seconds.
Yeah. I mean, it was, like, super fast.
And I don't know if you know this or not. Does your brother normally carry a gun? Like, I carry a gun everywhere I go.
Right. Like, I know he's a gun person. Like, he has guns and things.
Okay.
He's good with guns.
Did you know that he had one with him?
No.
When he came over?
No, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Because he's very... very professional with guns.
Proficient, professional. Responsible is usually a good.
Right, responsible with guns.
And then, do you remember if at any time, so you were trying to get away from him, and you heard the shot. Prior to the shot, do you remember at any point hearing your husband or your brother saying anything to either of them?
No.
So my second very ridiculous question is there anything else that I didn't ask about or anything that we didn't cover that you think is important? I always ask that just because I wasn't there, and so we're going through something that happened a super small amount of time.
Yes.
So, yeah, go for it.
Just thinking. Just that he was just so angry, like super scary.
Did you
know how you take your phone away from like a 16-year-old and they freak out? Like their world disintegrates. Like I've taken my phone away from a 16-year-old boy before, and he like he's like wanted to kill himself because like they kidnapped him. That's how it was. It was like it's something on his phone that he does not want me to see, that he was like freaking out, like to the point where I thought he would hit me in the back of the head to get the phone.
Okay. So you thought, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you thought it was possible that he was going to hurt you.
Absolutely, he was going to hurt me and Tylee.
Okay.
Not JJ. He would never hurt JJ.
Okay.
And he hurt my brother. Like he was going like ballistic about. It was bad.
Okay. I'm gonna go talk to her real quick.
Okay.
And then if obviously, we'll be here for a little bit, hopefully not too much longer. But if you think of anything or there's anything that kind of pops in your head or something else that we didn't cover, obviously. So I'm gonna go talk to her for just a little bit, and then I'll kind of come back and check with you. And then we'll kind of go from there. So I know my partner's talking to your brother over in one of the other interview rooms. So we're going to just try to get, as much done as we can and go from there.
Okay.
Okay. And then, is there anybody that you need to call or anything, or you want to wait a little bit?
I don't know what I would say.
No. And wait a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know what I would say.
And if you want to, you can think about it. So we do have victim services that work within the police department. They're right over here. They're not cops. They're civilians. And they do, Jessica, who was out there with the fire department, so they're kind of our crisis response. They come right away. So our victim services that work in the department are kind of more long-term type support system. So they're just a really good resource because they do a lot of stuff with our families and things like that, and can help with support services and questions you might have.
She's been through so much.
So it might be a good idea.
I just can't stand for her to have to go through all this.
Yeah, it might be a good idea maybe before I take you guys back today that I get one of them to come in and maybe sit and talk with you guys and see. And it's not something there's a bunch of stuff they can, offer, but it's good to have a contact and like a name and a face and a phone number.
That'd be good.
That way maybe a couple days from now, a week from now, or if there's something going on or you think you need help with something, it may not be something that's necessarily up like me and my partner's alley, but it very much may be up theirs. So I'd like for you to meet one of them before we leave. That way, hopefully if there's something that they can help you and your daughter with, they can, or even JJ or whatever else.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I hadn't even thought about him.
Yeah. So.
I mean, he's used to him not being there, but he wouldn't understand even if you told him.
Right.
Like, that somebody passed away, he doesn't understand what that means.
Well, I mean, it's hard at 7 to understand that anyways.
Right, that's true. But with him, he just doesn't, which is probably better because he doesn't comprehend things, but I don't know. It's just, that's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Still with us, Philip DeBay and Alexis Rosenberg. Alexis, let me start with you. This to me sounds like it could be viewed as simply a domestic violence incident where a gun was in the scene and this is what happens.
I mean, I definitely think the defense, she's going to try and play it as that, and based on what she was saying in this interview, that's what she was saying. However, there are some inconsistencies. The fact that she can't say what was being said at all, I find suspicious, as well as she hears a gunshot, but she leaves, but there wasn't a question. She says she doesn't see it, whether it was her brother or her husband at the time that was the one that was actually shot. So I think there's a lot of holes in the story.
Philip, I'd like to listen together and then get you to weigh in on the perspective of, was this a domestic violence incident that went south? Because this is really a prior call for help by Charles to the police. Let's listen.
What's going on? Why is she here and you're not here, or are you staying here with her?
Long story. She's had kind of a break from reality. She thinks you're LDS?
Yes.
She thinks she's married to Moroni in the past. This is her
You think she's what?
Married to Moroni, the top of the temple.
Angel,
Moroni.
LDS, Angel.
They don't let me in there.
Probation, and she knows when the second coming is happening next year, so does the prophet.
Okay.
He knows it, she knows about it. She meets with Moroni, Jesus Christ, face to face in the temple every day. I've tried to support her as much as I could, but it's gotten really, really bad lately. She's had a break. She says, I'm Nick Schneider. I've taken over Charles's body, and Charles has been killed. I'm going to kill you. You're going to be murdered today or tomorrow. I can do it. I'm not going to with my priesthood, with my power. She does priesthood blessing. She does.
So who's Nick Schneider? Okay.
That's who I'm supposed to be.
All right, Philip, weigh in your thoughts. Could it be viewed by a jury as simply a domestic violence situation that went south?
Not really. You know what I'm hearing, Ashley, and I don't know if my co-panelist will agree. I'm hearing that this was a psych call into the helpline almost. Can you help me? I cannot control her. There's something off with her. I don't know if she's hearing voices, if it's just sort of some type of internal stimuli going on with her, but she has been talking about lamb blood, apostles, and the second coming of Christ, and the 144,000 overcomers and believers. So he's concerned about her mental health and her overall well-being, as opposed to calling in and disturbing the peace.
Yeah, you could be right. Alexis, weigh in on that. And again, reminders to our viewers who are just joining us that Lori is charged with conspiracy to commit murder, because we know that Alex Cox, her brother, did shoot Charles Vallow. But we also know that Alex Cox is deceased now from natural causes. However, add that to the mix, if you would, please.
I agree with Philip. It sounds like that we had a mental health check, and because he wasn't saying that she was getting violent with what we just listened, that there was a break and she wasn't with it. And I do think with what we know, that there definitely appears that there was a mental break with her, with regard to everything that's happened, including, the murder of her children. So I don't know that they can use that call to support either way the domestic violence claim. And as well as her representing herself, we're not even sure that there's going to be a true defense. She may just go on ad nauseam like she did in that interview.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Philip, just quickly, one of my other thoughts in this was she likes to talk. She talks in the interviews. She talks on the cam. She talks. Do you think that means she'll choose to testify at her trial so people can hear from her?
I don't think there's any nexus between how she presented in that video and how she presents today, because I truly believe she has deteriorated since that call. I don't know what kind of medication they have her on, but in that video, I don't know if Alexis would agree, she kind of comes off like Sheryl Crow, all I want to do is have some fun. She kind of looks like she's hip and with it and has it all together. It's not until after that video, as the reports start coming in, that you see the woman really is decompensating to the point of a a deep psychosis. And if you remember, while the Idaho case was pending, she went back and forth to the state hospital due to mental incompetency.
All right, we're going to have to, I'm sorry, we're out of time. Thank you, Alexis, for joining us. Philip sticking around. Michael Ayala is joining us next. We hear from the man responsible for the death. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Ashley Wilcox.
And I'm Michael Ayala. We're both here today giving you your front row seat to justice. And we're going to begin this hour in Arizona, where we are looking ahead to Lori Vallow Daybell's upcoming trial starting this month with jury selection.
And we cannot wait for this one to begin. Daybell is accused of conspiring to murder her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, and for attempting to murder her niece's estranged husband, Brandon Boudreaux.
Daybell, who is already serving a life sentence in Idaho for the murders of her two children and her fifth husband's first wife, will be representing herself at her upcoming trial.
For more on Daybell's upcoming conspiracy murder case, here's Court TV anchor Michael Ayala with more on the story.
911, where is your emergency?
July 11th, 2019, Chandler, Arizona. Lori Vallow's brother, Alex Cox, calls 911 to report a shooting.
What's the emergency there? I got in a fight with my brother-in-law and I shot him in self-defense.
Cox tells first responders that Lori's estranged husband, Charles, had shown up at her house and they had gotten into a fight.
I turned around and he hit me in the back of the head with a bat. So I went to my room and got my gun. I always carry it.
Alex shot Charles Vallow and he died at the scene.
He came at me with the bat again after he'd already hit me in the head, so I shot him to stop him.
Lori spoke with police after Charles's death.
I didn't see the shot, I heard it, and then I came back around and I saw that he was on the ground. Okay. And was freaking out.
Yeah. Lori and Charles had been married for 14 years and were raising her teenage daughter Tylee and their adopted son JJ together. But they had separated in early 2019 after Lori began telling Charles she was married to a Mormon angel named Moroni.
She's had kind of a drug treatment. She thinks she's married to Moroni in the past.
Charles also told police that Lori had threatened to kill him.
She's had a break. She says, I'm Nick Snyder. I've taken over Charles's body. And Charles has been killed. I'm going to kill you. You're going to be murdered today or tomorrow.
But investigators say the reality was that Lori had begun an affair with Chad Daybell, a married Mormon writer who lived in Idaho. She was planning a new life with him. Prosecutors say she wanted to cash in on $1 million life insurance policy on Charles. 5 months after Charles's death, JJ and Tylee were missing. Chad's wife Tammy was dead, and Chad and Lori were married.
Did you do something to your children? Are your children still alive?
Lori Vallow Daybell is now a convicted murderer, serving life without parole in Idaho for the deaths of Tammy Daybell, Tylee, and JJ.
I know for a fact that my children are happy and busy in the spirit world.
She's also facing criminal charges in Arizona for the 2019 death of Charles Vallow. She's accused of conspiring with her deceased brother Alex and has been extradited back to stand trial.
Maricopa County Sheriff's Office deputies booked Lori Vallow into our ITR facility. 1 count of first-degree murder, 1 count of premeditated first-degree murder. She was extradited from Pocatello, Idaho, where she was already in their Department of Corrections there in custody at one of the prisons.
Lori has pleaded not guilty, but if convicted, she could get another life sentence in prison. Now, following the fatal shooting of Lori Daybell's fourth husband, Charles Vallow, Daybell's oldest daughter, Tylee Ryan, spoke with Chandler police about the day that her stepfather was shot dead by her uncle, Alex Cox. Again, Alex Cox, Lori Vallow's brother. Take a listen.
So I woke up probably around like 7:50, I want to say, because I heard yelling from like right outside my door. And I don't even know what I heard, but I immediately like jumped up, and I have a baseball bat because when I was living at my uncle's by myself, I just wanted something to like feel safer, and I'm not old enough to get like pepper spray or anything, so I was like, okay, I'll get a baseball bat. So I have that,
So your bedroom, you said that right outside your bedroom door, and I didn't go in the house, so I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage. So what is your bedroom door open to?
My bedroom door open, so the room that my uncle was staying in, the room that's kind of like the guest room, if my room's right here, that's right there.
Okay.
And then my little brother's room, and then kitchen's kind of back here, so it's like a little hallway, and then right here is kind of where everything happened.
Okay.
Like the big, you walk in and...
Like big great room, kind of living room?
Yeah, right now it just has mirrors up because my mom wanted a dance room.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of unconventional, but...
Hey, whatever makes you happy. It's your guys' house, so...
Right. So, yeah, I immediately just jumped up, and I grabbed my baseball bat, and I opened the door, and it was my stepdad, you know, outside the doorway, and then my uncle kind of in the doorway, and then I could hear my mom behind him, and he was just screaming at both of them, like, I don't even know what he was saying, because honestly I was just too, like wired, I guess. So I told him to take a few steps back. I was like, you're too close, you need to step back, and he was like, don't tell me what to do, and I just kind of just stood there, and then my uncle kind of moved out of the way, and then my mom kind of went past him and into, like, the big room.
Okay.
Where everything happened, and so I walked with them, and then I...
So they were more in the hallway?
Yeah, they were at, like, the end of the hallway, basically. And so my mom walked all the way around, and he kind of followed them, and I just kind of stood. My uncle was, like, right here, and then my stepdad right here, and then me and my mom were kind of right here. And I didn't do anything with the baseball bat. I kind of just held it there, and he was getting really close to my mom, so I kind of stuck it out, like, between them. And they were both just yelling, and he was like, if you hit me with that baseball bat, you're going to go to jail. And I just kind of stood there with the baseball bat, and I didn't really say anything.
When you said they were yelling, who was yelling?
It was mostly my stepdad.
Okay.
Well, he was really the only one, like, yelling. My mom was kind of, like, responding, but I honestly couldn't tell you what they were saying. It was kind of just, like, all jumbled up in my head. And so I just kind of stuck the baseball bat out there, and then he just grabbed it and tried to take it. So I held on to the end, and then eventually I fell, and he kind of took it into his hands like he was going to do something with it, and that's when...
So when you fell, he ended up with the bat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I fell to the ground, and then my uncle kind of, like, I saw him take a step back, so my uncle, I think, grabbed him and kind of took him back so he couldn't, like, do anything.
You saw your stepdad, like, take a step back?
Take a step back, because he was really close to begin with, and then and so my mom said to go with JJ, and so I ran out the door, and then I kind of just stood there with my little brother. He was in the front seat of the car, and so I just kind of opened the door and just stood there, and, like, he was trying to get out, and I was like, no, we have to stay. I have to stay in. And I was like, oh, like, I told him, like, do you want to go in the Jeep? And then he was like, no, and then I realized that my car was blocked in, so I couldn't anyways. I was like, okay, like, just stay here, and then eventually my mom came out, and then we left from there.
To kind of back up a little bit, so you had talked about your stepdad, when you put the bat out, your stepdad was coming towards your mom. Can you describe to me a little bit better kind of what was going on there? Like, is there a reason you put the bat up?
Yeah, he was walking towards my mom, and I just didn't want him to do anything, so I kind of just stuck out the bat. Like, my mom was right beside me, and he was right there, so it wasn't, like, between them.
Okay.
It was kind of just, like, I just stuck it out to be, like, keep your distance, kind of.
When you say you didn't want him to do anything, what did you think he was going to do?
Hit her.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, for the most part, been pretty, like, mundane, but there have been a few, like, violent times with him when I was really scared that he was going to hit me or hit my mom, like, just because everything was kind of crazy. Me and him have always kind of not gotten along, like, just since I was little. And so there have been a few times that we've gotten in fights and stuff like that, and so, so I'm just kind of always scared of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then So that happened, and he grabbed the bat from you.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of tell me that again real quick.
So I kind of stuck it out, and this is when he was like, if you hit me with that baseball bat, you're going to jail, and I didn't say anything because I'm like, okay. And so I'm holding it by like the end of the bat, like the place where you hold it, and so he kind of took it, and I kind of like lunged forward and kind of lost like my footing, and so my mom was like, just let go, and so I kind of like slipped and I fell, kind of on like my side.
Okay.
Yeah, and then from that, my mom said to go to the car, so I just got up and ran out the door.
Coming up next, we'll get back in. Tylee Ryan will tell police she saw pure rage in her stepfather's face as the fight between him and her uncle continued to escalate. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
And on closing arguments, should the accused United Healthcare CEO shooter get a laptop while behind bars? We're diving deeper into these new developments.
Closing arguments tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Court TV.
It's a whodunit Hollywood story.
Monica Cimentelli is accused of plotting to kill her husband.
Celebrity hairstylist Fabio Cimentelli.
The celebrity stylist murder trial continues Tuesday on Court TV.
Back now to Arizona, where we're looking ahead to Lori Daybell's upcoming trial. That's set to start on March 31st with jury selection.
Daybell is accused of conspiring to kill her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, and attempting to kill her niece's husband, Brandon Boudreaux, back in 2019, all around the same time that Daybell's two kids, Tylee and JJ, were murdered.
Now, Daybell has already been found guilty in Idaho for the death of her two kids and for conspiring to kill her fifth husband's wife, Tammy Daybell.
And this is a lot. There's a lot going on with this lady right now. We're listening back to a police interview. This is from Lori's daughter, Tylee Ryan, before she was murdered, but immediately following the death of her stepfather, Charles Vallow.
Did you see what happened with your stepdad and uncle?
No.
Okay. And then once you went outside with your brother, you never came back inside?
Oh, I went to go get my mom's purse from inside so that we could have, like, her wallet and everything, but this was all happening, like I said, like, in the bigger room right here, and so I went through the garage door, and so the garage door is right here, and then there's, like, a little hallway, and then this is kind of where everything is, and then this is my mom's room.
Okay.
So when I went in, I kind of, like, just tuned everything out, ran to my mom's closet, ran back, so I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything.
When did you go back in and get her purse?
After my mom came out.
Okay. So after you heard that loud noise?
Yeah.
Okay. And when you heard the loud noise, was your mom outside or inside?
I'm trying to think. I think she was inside when it happened, and the door opened like immediately after.
Okay. So very quickly after the door opened.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a long period of time, because I remember not like thinking about it for that long, and if my mom hadn't come out immediately, I would have, been thinking about it for a lot longer than I had.
So obviously I don't know like your mom and stepdad and uncle. Like you do. I don't. So can you tell me kind of where the three of them were at, kind of emotionally, and how they were behaving when all this was happening?
When all this was happening, or like before?
When all this was happening. So like when you came out of your room and he took the bat from you and...
Yeah, so my stepdad was like, he was like, I don't even know how to explain it. He honestly just looked like kind of a crazy person.
Okay.
Like screaming, and like his face was beet red. He just looked like really mad. I remember when he took the bat from me, I saw his face for like a split second, and I honestly like, it didn't even look like him. He just looked like pure like rage. Like he was just seeing red. So I haven't really seen him like all the way like that before. That's like the craziest I've ever seen him. And then my uncle was kind of calm. like not super calm. Obviously it was like a stressful situation, but he's like, I don't know, he was kind of just standing there in the doorway, kind of just being protective of my mom, but he wasn't yelling or really saying anything.
Okay.
And my mom was just he was yelling and my mom was kind of just like talking.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But you don't remember, if you do, like what your mom was saying at all, or what he was mad about?
No, not really. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
Honestly, like
we're talking about something that probably happened over 2 seconds of time. So.
Yeah, honestly, it feels like 2 seconds and 40 minutes at the same time.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what they were really saying. I just kind of heard yelling over everything. I don't know. I kind of just do that whenever things are like really loud. I kind of just like tune what people are saying out, because I don't know, just yelling isn't fun, obviously, for a kid to hear. And with my biological dad, I always heard him like screaming and stuff, so I kind of just learned how to like tune it out.
So when you woke up to yelling, and you had said you weren't sure what they were actually saying, did you know who was yelling when you heard the yelling?
Yeah, I knew it was my stepdad. Well, at first I kind of didn't. Like, when you first wake up, you're kind of disoriented. And then I remembered that my stepdad was, like, coming in to take my little brother to school today, so I immediately, like, knew it was him. And then my uncle I knew was staying, so I knew that was him. And then my mom, obviously, I knew that was her. Yeah.
And then, so you stepped out of your room and you took the bat with you. Is there a reason why you took the bat with you?
Honestly, I think that was kind of just like first instinct. Like, obviously I didn't ever hit him with the bat or anything like that. It was kind of just for like security, I guess, to know that I had it. I didn't do anything with it. In hindsight, I probably just shouldn't have brought it out at all because it caused more trouble. But it was kind of just first instinct, and it was right by my bed. So I kind of just like jumped up and grabbed it.
So I'm trying not to put like words in your mouth and stuff.
You're good.
So was there something in particular that you were concerned about that you would have taken the bat with you?
Only if he had been violent towards like me or my mom.
I'm assuming you're talking about your stepdad?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to take the bat and like do something with it. It was kind of just like, I need something in my hands to like feel safer.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So my kind of second dumb question is, and I don't know that there necessarily is, but I always kind of want to make sure, is there anything that, we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you about, or anything that you think is important or anything that I should know? Because it's harder for you because you were there, and so I'm asking questions about something I didn't even see. So I just want to make sure, like, I didn't miss something or anything that you think I should know about.
That was pretty much it.
All right, interesting stuff there. Let's bring in our guest, still with us, former Deputy Public Defender Philip Dubé. Philip, great to see you. As I'm listening to the statement, I want to get your thoughts, because what I'm hearing is something that, you could easily conclude that whatever ended up happening in that apartment, now she didn't ultimately see it, but she saw a lot of the lead up. What ultimately happened was a domestic violence situation, and really could have went down the way Alex Cox told police, that this was a self-defense situation, which then I think would make it difficult for prosecutors to prove that she conspired in a murder that really wasn't a murder.
Exactly, and I think it's really sad because it's obvious that Tylee loved her mother and came to her rescue out there with the bat and never thought that her own mother would potentially end her life. But having said that, it seemed like the child perceived danger as to her mother and came to her rescue, actually was at her side and didn't just let her get pummeled, if you will. I certainly hope that Lori Daybell or Lori Vallow, or whatever her real name is, has the presence of mind, or at least some guidance, to try to get this video into evidence, because I could see the prosecution not wanting it in because it tends to exculpate her. I truly think that it's a great snapshot into her state of mind at the time of that incident. Now, how she presents today is a different, sort of a different animal. But back then, I actually think that this video is exculpatory. You don't see any high order thinking, any flight of ideas, any type of delusional system or word salad. So something obviously happened after all these events where she just descended into nuttiness, frankly. So for her sake, I hope this comes in because I think it actually helps her.
All right, so it's interesting you say that. Watch this together with us because we hear a little bit more about that from Lori in court in March 11th of this year about this video. Let's listen.
8033, which is mental, emotional, and physical condition, with the same thing, her state of mind, then being scared. And also 8043, statement against interest. They use that statement in the indictment where Tylee says that Charles says, if you hit me with that bat, you're going to jail. That's the part where she's nervous in her interview, saying she's scared to tell the police that she's the one that brought in the bat.
Obviously, the defendant has been found guilty of killing both Tylee, other individuals, but in this case, the defendant cannot benefit from killing a witness and then later try to bring in their statements for their benefits.
All right, Philip, there, it's like you predicted. Lori Vallow asked for it. I think that was smart on her part, but I have to tell you, the judge did deny that request because, of course, Tylee's been murdered by Lori based on the conviction that we know now exists that she murdered her 2 children. So now what do you think, knowing that doesn't come in, Philip?
Well, first of all, I respectfully disagree with the judge's ruling, and I think the rationale is there's an exception to the hearsay rule that came down from the U.S. Supreme Court some years back. It's called the forfeiture by wrongdoing statute, meaning that if you have a hearsay declarant where their testimony could otherwise come in to even exonerate a defendant, you forfeit your right to present it and to cross-examine on it if you are in fact the cause of the death or the unavailability of that particular witness or declarant. But you got to understand something. This happened long before this child was killed. You know, it would be one thing if there was a rapid succession of events that after this video, the next day or maybe even a week following, there were rumblings and murmurs of Charles and, I'm sorry, not Charles, but Chad and Lori wanting to kill the child. But you don't have that. You have this huge gap. And to make that leap from this time to a future time when the child is dead, to say that she forfeits by her own wrongdoing the right to put on this video and to cross-examine on these issues, I think is judicial error. And frankly, I could see it actually coming back. That's how egregious that error would be.
I would agree. I don't agree with that ruling at all either. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the things that you look for in these situations, Philip, is if the person was killed to keep them silent, right? If there was some nexus between the murder or death of that person at the hands of the defendant and the case that they're in, but there is no nexus.
Exactly. I mean, I think the spirit of the forfeiture by wrongdoing rule, in other words, to exclude certain statements, is to punish the person for deliberately trying to prevent testimony, for deliberately trying to prevent an appearance in court. Some legal type process or procedure, but just the fact of a death completely unrelated, I don't think that that was really the spirit of this hearsay exception. And we'll see, though, if the Arizona courts grapple with this when she's convicted on appeal.
Yeah, sure enough.
Yeah.
All right, we'll step aside here, folks. We'll take a break. Coming up, we're going to hear from the man responsible for Charles Vallow's death, what Alex Cox told police happened inside that home. Right after the break. Keep it here on Court TV.
Arizona this hour, looking ahead to the trial of Lori Daybell set to begin next week.
Now, Lori is already serving life in prison in Idaho for murdering her 2 children and conspiring to kill her 5th husband's first wife. Well, now she's in Arizona acting as her own attorney on charges in the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow.
And Charles was shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox, during an argument at their home in 2019. But following the shooting, Alex told police that Charles attacked him first with a bat. Take a listen.
I have very little understanding or knowledge of what happened. Patrol kind of, the officer that talked to you out there, it kind of turns into the phone game. So, you know what I mean? When they go, yeah, this is what he says, but they're kind of rambling through it real fast. And same with your sister. Your sister's name is Lori or Lauren?
Lori.
L-O-R-I. L-O-R-I? Okay. So, the big thing that I want to do is just make sure that we have all the details accurate and factual. Because kind of some of the information we got from Patrol didn't really match up what Lori told us compared to. So walk me through what happened today.
Well, I stayed the night at my sister's.
Okay.
We were planning to go do something fun day. We hadn't really decided. I was thinking maybe I was going to take her to the range.
Okay.
Or go do something.
Okay.
And we'll take JJ to some water park or movies or whatever. I stayed there last night, and this morning Charles showed up, and I don't know what started it.
And Charles is your brother-in-law. He and Lori are married.
Yes.
Okay.
So he showed up. He was following her and yelling. And then I got between them. And then Tylee came out with her bat, and I had separated for a minute, and then my sister walked around me there in the living room, and then Charles was following Lori and yelling, and Tylee told him to get back. She took her bat like that and shoved him, and he took the bat away. And I said, "What are you doing?" And I got between them, and then he hit me, and I just went down, and when I got up, he was still yelling. And so I went into the bedroom where I was staying, grabbed my gun, and I came back.
Okay.
And told him to put the gun down, or the bat down. And he came to me and was saying, what are you going to do? Like that, and come to me with the bat. I said, put it down. He wouldn't. He came at me, so.
Okay. So when that argument first started between Lori and Charles, where in the house were they?
I don't know.
Okay. Where did you first?
I was in my bedroom.
Okay, so you were in your bedroom, and you heard the argument.
When they came right towards me.
Okay, so they were coming down the hallway towards the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay, so you hear the argument, you step out. What's the first thing that you see?
Charles chasing after Lori and yelling.
Okay. Had Tylee already gotten the bat? Did he already have the bat? Okay.
No.
So Charles is coming towards Lori.
He's coming towards Lori, and I shoved him back.
Okay.
And I said, "What are you doing?" Because he's coming at her aggressively.
Okay.
He's a big dude, so he's not gonna hurt my sister.
Okay. So he's coming at her.
Yeah.
And you shoved him back.
Yeah.
What happened right after that? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
He got back up and he comes right to me, doesn't look at me, and continues to yell at Lori.
Okay.
So he's maybe this far away.
Are you in the hallway of the house, or
right close to the doorway of that bedroom?
Of the bedroom you were staying?
Yes.
Okay. So you're right near the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay.
So then, I don't remember why. He backed up, and then my sister came around behind me, and they ended up in the living room. And then while they're on the way to the living room, Tylee comes out of her bedroom, which is adjacent to the one I was staying in.
Okay.
With her bat.
Okay.
Yelling at Charles. Actually, she was behind Charles at first, and then she got around in front of him in the living room.
Okay. So he then went back. They went back towards the living room.
Yes,
after you shoved him. Did he fall to the ground when you shoved him?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so he falls to the ground. He gets back up. You're blocking between him and Lori.
Yes.
And he basically is talking past you, still yelling at Lori.
Yes, exactly.
What's he saying?
I don't remember.
Okay. So you first get involved when they're down by your room.
They come all the way she comes into the room and he comes right here, and I stopped him right here.
Okay, so she came into your room.
Yeah.
Okay, so she comes into your room. He's coming at her aggressively, and that's when you pushed him.
Yep.
So you push him down.
Yep.
And then he gets back up.
Yep. And then he yells, and then he backs up.
Okay.
And then Lori goes around and goes around him, and they're still going at it.
Okay.
Right? And then Tylee comes out when she hears what's going on. She has her bat.
Okay. Is it a metal bat?
Yeah, it's
plastic
a
bat.
aluminum bat.
Okay.
So she comes at him because she's tiny, so that's like her thing. You know, she doesn't have anything, but she wants to help defend her mom.
Okay.
So she comes at him, and then when
they've already moved back towards the living room.
So they're going this way.
Okay.
So Lori's here, Tylee's here, Charles is here, I'm here. Tylee goes at him with the bat. Then he takes the bat away from her, and I step towards him, and he turned around and cracked me.
Is that foot injury that's caused on your head? Okay.
Well, there was some shoving first, and I got spun around.
Okay.
And then popped. So I go back here, grab my gun, and come back out. He's still yelling and threatening me.
Okay.
And then, so I was standing here, and he was there.
Okay. So you're standing right there. He's right here.
He's there.
And you said, what happened? What happened when you came out with the gun?
I said, put that bat down. He's like, what are you going to do? So you're going to threaten me? I was like, no, I'm just going to defend myself. So you put that bat down. And he goes, what are you going to do like that? And he came at me.
Okay.
And he'd already hit me in the head.
Okay, so he came at you at the bat. What was he doing with the bat when he came at you?
It was in his right hand like this.
Okay, so he's holding it low and he's coming at you? Okay. So you gave him, how many times would you say you told him to put the bat down?
Once.
Once? Okay. And then he started advancing towards you?
Yes.
How many shots did you fire?
I don't know. A couple.
Okay. Were Tylee and your sister?
I didn't see him, so I don't know where they were.
Where's JJ at during all this?
He's already out in the car.
Okay, so he's sitting out in the car.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. But you, as far as you think or understand, you're not sure where they were.
Correct.
He's in the corner of the living room.
They were no longer in the room.
Okay.
When I come back out.
Okay. So they're out of the room, so it's just you and him.
Yes.
And he basically comes at you with the bat.
Yeah.
You tell him to put it down.
Yeah.
He's threatening, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And what'd you tell him?
I didn't say anything. He's coming at me, and I'm holding the gun.
Okay.
If you're going to attack someone with a gun, you got to be ready for the repercussions.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure, because he basically, you had said earlier that he had the bat.
Yeah.
And he asked, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And you had already told him to put the bat down, and then he just came at you, and you shot him.
Yep.
Okay. And you're thinking a couple times?
It was more than one shot.
Okay. So more than one shot. What kind of gun was it?
45.
Okay. What make?
It's a Springfield XDM.
Okay. So it's an XDM 45.
Yeah.
What type of ammo were you carrying in it? Do you know?
Just standard.
Like full metal jacket?
Yeah.
Target shooting? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, folks, before we head to break, we have some breaking news out of Michigan, where a jury has now been seated in the battered and burned murder trial. Defendant Linda Sturmer is accused of setting her husband on fire and then running him over with her car. Opening statements are expected to begin there tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern. We'll bring those to you live.
All right, and still ahead, more of Alex Cox's interview with police as he's detailing the moments before he shot and killed his sister's estranged husband, Charles Vallow. Stay with us. You're watching Court TV Live.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, should the accused United Healthcare CEO shooter get a laptop while behind bars? We're diving deeper into these new developments.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV. This week.
Join us each morning to get trial ready for the day's proceedings. Plus, deeper dives into true crime stories with our daily spotlight.
Opening statements with Julie Grant. Mornings at 8/7 Central on Court TV.
Welcome back. As we continue with our look ahead to Lori Vallow Daybell's upcoming trial, we're looking back at police interviews from right after the death of her then husband, Charles Vallow.
Lori was estranged from Charles at the time, and he had written in divorce filings that she claimed to be a goddess sent to usher in the biblical apocalypse. Charles was eventually shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox, on July 11th of 2019.
And as we know, that apocalypse never actually happened.
Right, yeah,
They
good
thought
point.
it would, but it didn't. All right, we're picking it back up now with Alex Cox's police interview, where he's telling his story for a third time about getting his gun and shooting Charles Vallow.
Is there anything else that you could think of that I didn't ask about that I need to know right now?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Did Lori ever say, like in the last couple of days, that Charles was coming to town?
Yeah, she said he was coming to pick up JJ.
Okay. So you guys were expecting him to show up today?
Yeah.
Okay. So you knew, okay. It wasn't like he just showed up unexpectedly?
No, it wasn't a surprise or anything like that.
But you don't know what they were arguing or fighting about?
His behavior was a surprise, but him showing up was not a surprise.
Okay. Let me just walk you through my understanding of it to make sure that I'm accurate. You were in your room.
Yeah.
Had you even gotten up and like been out of your room this morning?
Yeah, brushing my teeth.
Okay. So you're in your room. You hear...
I'm just on the phone, and then I just hear them coming around the hall quick.
Had you seen Charles before, or like that morning?
No.
Okay, so you hear them arguing.
Yeah.
And
first time I see him is at the doorway.
At your doorway.
And I shove him back.
So Lori comes into your room.
Yep.
You're in your room.
Yep.
You get up at the doorway and basically get between him and Lori.
Yep.
You push Charles back.
Yep.
He probably fell down to the ground or did fall to the ground.
He stumbled back.
Okay. So he stumbles back. He comes right back up, and he's talking past you, still yelling at Lori. But you don't know what he was yelling at.
I don't remember.
Okay. So at some point in time, Charles backs up. Lori comes out, and they both go around you towards the living room.
Yes.
Tylee comes out of her room with a bat.
Yeah.
And basically, they've made their way into the living room.
Yes.
So Tylee pokes her dad in the back.
In the front, in the chest.
Front. Okay, so she's come around this way.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's come around.
So this is Tylee, and that's Charles.
Okay, so she pokes him in the bat, or in the chest with the bat.
Yeah.
You know how many times about, or
just once, and then he grabbed the bat.
So he grabs the bat and takes it away. You come towards him.
Yeah.
And then what happened right after that?
He shoved me and spun me around.
Okay.
And then cracked me in the back of the head.
Cracked you in the back of the head. He hit you one time?
Yeah.
Okay. So you go back to your room.
I stumbled forward, and then I went back in there.
Did you fall to the ground when you got hit with the bat?
No, my head bounced.
Okay. So you go back to your room.
Yeah.
Get the gun.
Yeah.
Come back to the living room.
Yeah.
Now, Tylee and Lori are gone.
Yep.
And
it's just me and Charles in the living room.
Okay. And Charles, what's he doing again?
He's got the bat.
Okay.
And he's looking at me and he's going, whoa. And I told him that, I said, Charles, put that bat down. And he goes, what are you going to do about it?
How were you holding the gun when that happened?
Holding it right
so you pointed at him?
Yeah.
You tell him, Charles, put the gun down, or put the bat down.
Mm-hmm.
And what did he say?
He said, what are you going to do about it?
Okay.
And then comes at me.
Okay. And then you fire a couple times.
Yeah.
But you're not sure how many. You know it was more than one.
I'm pretty sure it was two.
Two? Okay, 2 shots. Where were you aiming on his body?
Just center.
Okay, so you're pretty sure 2 shots center mass.
Yeah.
He falls to the ground. You don't see Lori or Tylee anymore.
Correct.
You go to the kitchen, grab a rag for your head.
Yeah, throw some paper towels and wash my hands off.
And then go back to your room, put the gun down, grab your phone, come back to the kitchen and call in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they walked me through and tried to do CPR.
Okay. Anything else that you can think of that I need to know or that's important to this?
That's all there is.
Okay. Trying to think if there's anything else that I need to know. I'm going to get a tech out here to take some photographs of you if you're okay with that. So if you want to hang tight for me, you need the restroom or anything?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, hang tight for me. I'll be right back. I'm going to go have somebody take some photographs of your head.
Yeah.
Put this back in there. All right, I'll be right back.
Thanks.
So I'll kind of walk through an order.
Sure.
When the argument initially came your way, you said you were on the phone?
No.
Oh, okay. You were just in the room?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you said you were on the phone.
No.
So you weren't on the phone with anybody?
No, my phone was in that room.
Okay, your phone was in the room, so were you?
Yeah.
And then they came your way?
Yeah.
And then you're not sure where Lori and Tylee were when you came back?
When I came back out, that's correct.
Okay. Where was your gun at in the room?
It was in my bag in a case at the foot of the bed. So the bed was here, and then the gun's here in a case.
Okay. Inside like a duffel bag or something?
Yeah, it was like a zip, a little orange bag.
Okay.
And then my case was in there.
Okay. Is it the hard plastic?
Yeah, the hard plastic with the foam and the extra clips and everything.
Okay. Is there a reason you spent the night there last night?
No, not really.
Okay.
Just hang out. We were going to hang out today.
Okay. Did your sister ever tell you she was concerned for her safety or well-being for Charles coming there?
No.
Okay.
But watching him interact with her, I was.
Okay. So, do you normally carry a gun with you?
Yeah.
Okay. But you didn't have it on your person during this?
No.
Okay. When we talked about Tylee basically having the bat, Charles taking the bat away from Tylee, you said there was a struggle after that.
Yeah.
What happened? I mean,
I grabbed it from behind.
Okay.
And then we went to the ground. And then we separated, and he hit me, and then that's when I left.
Okay. So you grabbed him from behind. And how come you grabbed him from behind?
Because he was in front of me, and he was going after Tylee with the bat.
What was he doing with the bat?
He just grabbed it from her, and then I jumped in. I don't know what he was doing with it.
So he was going after Tylee with the bat, and you grabbed him from behind, around the neck, or
over the shoulder like this.
Okay. You grabbed him from behind. Yeah. You pulled him back, and you guys
pulled him back. We both went to the ground. Yeah.
Okay. Did you see him swing the bat at you?
No.
Okay. So you pulled him to the ground. You got back up.
I got back up. He hit me in the back of the head. I don't know if it was with the bat or not. I assumed it was.
Okay.
Because he had it.
Okay. So he hit you with the back of the head.
Yeah.
And you go to the room.
Yep.
Okay. And you don't know where Lori or Tylee are when you go back to the room.
Correct.
Okay. You come back from the room.
Yeah.
And you basically get you initial or marked kind of here on this corner.
Yeah.
That you're basically at the corner of the living room.
Well, this is a hallway here, so there's like a wall here that divides the kitchen.
Okay.
So I'm somewhere in this area.
Okay. And he's in the living room.
Yes.
And he still has the bat.
Yes.
Is he now focused at you, or is he focused at Lori?
He's focused at me, and he's yelling at me, and then he moves towards me.
What was he saying to you? Do you remember?
Not really.
Okay.
I just remember yelling.
Okay.
And then I was watching more body language, and when someone aggressively comes at you.
Okay. Are you, do you have your CCW?
Yeah.
Okay, so so he's basically coming at you and he's yelling, you're watching his body language.
Yeah.
And you said you told him, and I didn't, when we're talking, I'm trying to not take notes and listen to what you're saying.
I'm trying to calm the situation.
Okay.
I'm going to drop your bat, and then he's you and whatever.
Okay.
And I'm in.
Did you ever tell him to leave, or did you say drop the bat, or?
First, I just said drop the bat.
Okay. And then did you say anything else after that?
I didn't have time.
Okay. So he came after you with the bat.
Yep.
He's kind of holding it in his hand.
I got in his right hand.
Okay.
All right, still with us, former Deputy Public Defender Philip Dubé. And Philip, once again, Lori Vallow is fighting to get this particular interview in. Now, some of it does fall under hearsay, right? Out of court statements for the truth of the matter asserted. She says it falls under an exception. Excited utterance, for instance, is what she used. But the judge said she's inclined not to let it in. Where do you fall on this?
Well, of course, after years of doing defense work, judges do anything to stick it to the defense. I mean, that's just how it is. And unfortunately, it's true, even when we're on all fours with the law, the problem is when you are pro per, you don't have case authority readily available to cite to the court to really show the judge that you're really on top of the law. I respectfully disagree. I do. I think the jury needs to hear all this. I really do. Charles really came off as an uncontrollable maniac, and that's based upon a very in-depth investigation done by the Chandler police. They interviewed everybody. They interviewed the kids. They interviewed everybody who was at the scene, and they found no crime. So what does that tell you? It tells you that it was a perfect self-defense. I don't think, based on the number of years that I have been doing this, that there was a crime, because there is no duty to retreat in Arizona. If, for example, you were in a state where there's a duty, if you remember, Alex said he left the room to go get his gun. Well, in a non-stand your ground state, or in a state where you do have a duty to retreat, he should have left. You know, why couldn't he just, go out a back door, hop through a window, and avoid this melee? But in Arizona, if you're in a residence in your own home and somebody's advancing toward you, you don't have to run out of there with your tail between your legs. You can stand your ground and do whatever you can do or want to do to save your own hide. So that would be the only suspicious fact, even though it's not really necessarily a legal mandate, explaining why he felt the need to go get the gun after he was able to run off from Charles without getting struck by the bat. It looks suspicious, but I don't think that that's necessarily calls for a legal conclusion.
All right, I think we're out of time. Thank you so much, Philip Dubé, for joining us today.
Folks, stick around. Coming up, more from Alex Cox's interview with police, plus new developments in the Idaho student murders case. Keep it here on Court TV. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Michael Ayala.
And I'm Judge Ashley Wilcott.
When you were going around and he was coming at you with the bat, how was he holding the bat?
Just like that, like backwards. In one arm.
Like he was swinging it backwards? He would have done like
he would have swung it backwards at me, not frontwards.
Okay, yeah.
He was a professional baseball player.
Okay.
So it wasn't a good idea for Tylee to get out of the house.
Probably not the.
I mean, he played semi-pro when he was young. But and then I was kind of turned around, and we were all right there in that room, except for the kids had been outside by that time, and I heard the gunshot.
We are bringing you special coverage ahead of the cult mom conspiracy trial of Lori Daybell. That was sound from her telling police about what happened the day leading up to her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, being shot to death by her own brother. It happened at their home in Arizona back in July of 2019.
Daybell is scheduled to go on trial next week on conspiracy charges related to his murder. She is already serving life without parole after being convicted in May of 2023 for killing her children, 6-year-old JJ Vallow and 16-year-old Tylee Ryan. She was also convicted of conspiracy in the death of her current husband's first wife, Tammy Daybell.
Their murders happened just months after Charles Vallow was killed. Crime and Justice correspondent Matt Johnson takes a look back at Charles Vallow.
Brother-in-law visiting from Houston.
Charles Vallow was 62 years old when Lori Vallow's brother, Alex Cox, shot and killed him in 2019. He and Lori were separated at the time.
How did it get to this?
I don't know, he was enraged. He came at me with the bat again after he'd already hit me in the head, so I shot him to stop him.
13 years earlier, Charles had married Lori in Las Vegas. During their marriage, they had adopted his grandnephew, JJ. In 2014, Charles, Lori, JJ, and Tylee moved to Hawaii and ran a small business on the island of Kauai. 2 years later, in 2016, they moved to Arizona. But by 2019, the relationship had taken a turn, and so had Lori's beliefs.
She's had kind of a break from reality. She says, I'm Nick Snyder. I've taken over Charles's body, and Charles has been killed. I'm going to kill you. You're going to be murdered today or tomorrow. I've got a 6-year-old with special needs. I've tried to support her as much as I could, but it's gotten really, really bad.
Charles' efforts to help didn't make a difference. 2 years after he was killed, a grand jury in Arizona indicted Lori for conspiring to commit his murder.
There was not a kinder person with more integrity out there than Charles.
Charles was a man of his word.
Absolutely.
He had integrity.
Family and friends say Charles always took care of everyone else around him. He was a loving father and someone who loved life to the fullest.
All right, now you've already heard some of Charles Vallow's conversation in that piece about how Lori had changed. Well, he called police twice that day with his concerns about Lori and their missing children. Let's listen in on some of that.
What's going on? Why is she here and you're not here, or are you staying here with her?
Long story. She's had kind of a break from reality. She thinks you're LDS?
Yes.
She thinks she's married tomorrow now, in the past. This is her
You think she's what?
We're married to Moroni, the top of the temple.
Angel,
Moroni.
LDS, Angel.
They don't let
She's
me in there.
Probation, and she knows when the second coming is happening next year, so does the prophet.
Okay.
He knows it, she knows about it. She meets with Moroni and Jesus Christ face to face in the temple every day. I've tried to support her as much as I could, but it's gotten really, really bad lately. She's had a break. She says, I'm Nick Schneider. I've taken over Charles's body, and Charles has been killed. I'm going to kill you. You're going to be murdered today or tomorrow. I can do it. I'm not going to with my priesthood, with my powers. She does priesthood blessings. She does.
So who's Nick Schneider? Okay.
That's who I'm supposed to be.
Okay. Right. Okay. So he's not at church. He's not.
She took my truck from the airport. So in fact, she took my truck from the airport last night when I flew in. She canceled my flights. I had to buy another ticket to come back home. I've got a 6-year-old with special needs.
Right. And he's safe at school somewhere.
Right.
Okay.
For now. If she knows I'm here, she's going to go get it.
Okay. What is she driving?
A black Infiniti QX80.
And you've looked all through the parking lots.
I just never thought she would do anything like this, but she's just lost touch with reality. I'm not me. She yells. She's unhinged. It's scared the crap out of me.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming you guys have phones. Is that an iPhone?
Yes.
Are you able to track to see where her phone is right now? I hear iPhones.
The phone's with me.
Oh, your phone. Now, how did you get her phone?
Because it was in the car this morning when she pulled up to school. I took the keys out of her purse out so she couldn't leave. That's when I called you guys. Okay. Somehow she has a pair of keys and left with my dog. And so I don't know where I saw this in her purse. I don't think she's here. They were going to give me a key to the room. I was going to go, if you guys will come with me, see if she's in the room.
We can't just go in. If you're not allowed to go in, we can't either. We can
on
just...
my credit card, she did the room.
Okay, that's going to be up to them if they allow you to go in. Now, we can't. Now, you guys are married, so there shouldn't be. No, we're waiting for right now. What we're doing is my sergeant wanted to get some information from you. I was about to call you, but then Gary said you were here. We are just going to wait a second. My sergeant, they're on their way because we have a sergeant training. So they're going to be here. They have the paperwork. So if she is here, we knock on the door. She's here. That's why we need the paperwork in hand.
I apologize. She's not in there for some reason. She may checked out. Maybe another hotel, but I did know that she would be picking up JJ at 3:45 today at the same school.
Okay.
So she will be there. I don't know how you want to do that or what you want to do.
So did they tell you she's not in there?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
She may be. Don't tell her where she's staying.
Okay.
There's a lot of gray area in these matters for us, so it's not real black and white like somebody commits a crime and we just arrest them. So, and I know we just showed up, we kind of came into this last minute, so we're kind of getting the story second and third hand. We need to be real careful following her around.
I can't get in touch with my kids.
How old are your kids?
6.5 and 16. Okay.
How long have you been trying?
2 days.
Okay.
But she's lost her mind. I don't know how else to say it. We're LDS. She thinks she's a resurrected being and a God and member of the 144,000. Jesus is coming next year. She took all the money out of her bank account today. My truck is gone from the airport. She went to the airport and got it. I just flew in from Houston, from Dallas.
So what makes her a danger to herself and to others?
She threatened me, murder me, kill me.
She threatened to murder you?
Yes. And she said,
how did she do that?
My bishop right there is in the car. He was on the phone with me today when she said, I will have you destroyed. That's what she said there.
Okay, that's not a threat to kill you.
Yesterday was a threat to kill me.
Okay. What did she say yesterday?
She said, you're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles, but I can murder you now with my powers.
So if we talk to her, is she going to be able to have a rational conversation with us?
Oh, she will. I'm sure she will.
Okay.
Yeah, she's just...
She'll probably tell me I'm crazy, huh? Is that what you suspect?
Probably. Okay. You're a dark spirit. That's what she's going to tell you.
Okay.
I'm a dark spirit. Gabe's with me. He's our bishop. He's going to be a dark spirit. whatever that means.
Has she made any statements about wanting to hurt the children or anything?
Today she said with Gabe on the phone, come take the kids. I don't care what happens to them. She knows what she's doing. She took $35,000 out of her bank account today. I can't make payroll Friday for my company. It's just, she changed our bank account numbers. I had to change it myself to get back in, and I saw all the money's gone.
You don't have a hidden key?
No, it's in the house.
So it's not hidden?
JJ can open it, but we have to keep those locks really tight.
Understand.
He's a runner.
One swift kick will do it.
I'll do a mule kick. We'll try that first. You gotta get closer.
Door police. Somebody in the house.
Oh, it's all clear. You can do a missing persons report, but I mean,
she's taking my son out of school.
Well, we don't know that.
Well, even if she did, she has that legal right. She's the parent. She can do that. So we don't.
Permission? I mean,
she's the legal guardian of the child.
What can I do, guys?
6 months later, Charles was killed.
You can feel this sort of helplessness of the situation, you know?
And
I can't imagine being in his shoes.
Yeah, I can't either. He's doing the right thing. He's going to the police. He's reporting all the details. And yet, look what happens at the end of the day.
And she's a guardian, too. There's not much anybody can do. Let's bring in our guest joining us to discuss, criminal defense attorney Laura Uretzi. And Laura, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us here on the program. And as I said, as I'm watching that, I'm feeling the helplessness, not only of the police, but also of Charles Vallow. He's in a difficult situation. And it's odd because, you know, you get someone walking down the street with a gun without mental health issues. They're a threat, but I submit someone like this that's difficult to sort of take action against, who's kind of thinking they're a god, they can destroy you. These are quotes, I will murder you. They're just as much, if not more of a threat, but not a lot anyone can do.
Correct. I mean, talk about testifying from beyond the grave here. That's what Charles Vallow is doing. And yes, he's talking about a wife who could have probably was 5150 basically. Had she been around and had the officers heard what she was saying, they may have taken her into a psych ward and kept her there for a number of hours or days until she was better. But she wasn't there, and he was reporting it, and he was reporting the threats. But a lot of what he's saying is going to be used in this case by the prosecution to kind of connect the defendant to the actual murder, because we know that Alex Cox is the one who, in fact, did the shooting and killed Charles Vallow. And the only way to connect her, I mean, one of the ways to connect her, the defendant, to the shooting and the murder is some of her statements. Whether she was having a mental breakdown or not is, I guess, secondary, because this is all coming in and it's going to go to the weight of the evidence, and the jury's hearing this, and we're going to see what they do with it. But my guess is that's why the prosecution is bringing all of this in.
So do you think if the jury hears these comments, things like she stole the $35,000, I can't get in touch with the two kids, and she took the truck, all these things, that doesn't mean that she conspired with Alex Cox to shoot Charles Vallow. How can they make that connection in your mind?
You're right. They don't automatically prove it. This is all circumstantial, right? As far as the jury's concerned, that shows some planning on her part, taking out the $30,000, right? So it shows, because if it's a conspiracy, there's some kind of a planning, and that may be part of the plan to take the money. The kids have disappeared. She's threatening to kill him. All of this together is the prosecution is going to try and use, and it's going to be part of their closing, I'm sure, if it wasn't part of their opening, to connect her to the murders. And you're right, it's not 100% proof, but that's not what they need. They just need to make the connection and circumstantially prove this beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the state proceeds in this case. Lori Vallow, of course, representing herself. Still ahead, we learn more about Lori Daybell's brother, who killed her husband.
I turned around and he hit me in the back of the head with a bat. So
I went to my room and got my gun. I always carry it.
You went to your room, meaning the room you're staying in?
Yeah.
Okay, you brought a gun with you?
Yes.
Do you always bring a gun?
I have a concealed carry always.
Okay.
Just to be safe.
Hi, who are you? Hi. Okay, just stand over there for just a second, guys.
And later, we have new developments in the Idaho student murders case of Brian Kohlberger about who could be testifying in his trial. Right here on Court TV, your front row seat to justice.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, should the accused United Healthcare CEO shooter get a laptop while behind bars? We're diving deeper into these new developments.
Closing Arguments, tonight at 8, 7 Central, only on Court TV.
It's a whodunit Hollywood story.
Monica Simontelli is accused of plotting to kill her husband.
Celebrity hairstylist Fabio Simontelli.
The celebrity stylist murder trial continues Tuesday on Court TV.
And I think it falls under 803-2, excited utterance. He was under the stress of the whole situation when he made those statements.
What was his demeanor when he made those statements?
Upset.
What's the specific statement?
I shot my brother-in-law in self-defense. I got hit in the head with a bat. There was an altercation. I don't know what all the statements are, but...
How long after the incident did he make these statements?
Immediately after, as far as I know.
We are continuing with our special coverage of the cult mom conspiracy trial of Lori Daybell. That's set to begin next week. She is accused of conspiracy in the murder of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, nearly 6 years ago.
Daybell's brother, Alex Cox, shot and killed Charles and told police that he acted in self-defense. Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft has a closer look at Alex Cox and his connection to the murder of Charles Vallow and Lori's children, JJ and Tylee.
Your sister's name is Lori or Lauren?
Lori.
L-O-R-I. L-O-R-I? Okay.
Alex Cox was Lori Daybell's older brother. He was a massage therapist and allegedly Lori Vallow's hitman.
I think that, you know, what her and Chad and Alex did are just the most horrendous things any humans can do.
In July of 2019, Arizona police questioned Cox after he shot and killed Lori's estranged husband, Charles Vallow. He claimed self-defense.
Charles is coming towards Lori. They're coming towards Lori.
And I shoved him back. I told him to get back. She took her bat like that and shoved him, and he took the bat away. And then he hit me, and so I went into the bedroom where I was staying and grabbed my gun, and I came back. I said, put it down. He wouldn't. He came at me, so.
Back then, police ruled he did shoot Charles Vallow in self-defense. But now, prosecutors say Cox, Chad Daybell, and Lori planned his murder.
I didn't see the shot, I heard it, and then I came back around and I saw that he was on the ground. Okay. And was freaking out.
Just 5 months after that shooting, Alex Cox died from blood clots in his lungs. His wife, Zulema Pastenis, told police that days before the death, Cox made mysterious statements about Lori and Chad Daybell.
He said, I think I am being their fall guy. And I'm like, the fall guy for what? What is it? Tell me, what is it that they're trying to pin on you?
According to investigators, Cox was more than a fall guy. They say he conspired and helped with the murders of Lori's children, 7-year-old JJ Vallow and 16-year-old Tylee Ryan in Idaho. When the children first went missing, Cox allegedly tried to shoot Chad Daybell's wife, Tammy. He missed, but 10 days later, she died at her home. And investigators say Cox also allegedly tried to shoot Brandon Boudreau, the estranged husband of Lori's niece. More than a decade earlier, Cox served 3 months in jail for tasing Lori's third husband. Alex Cox joked about it during an open mic comedy routine.
I took a stun gun and I discharged it right in his and in Texas, that's a felony.
Quite a character.
Yes.
Alex Cox. All right. Police conducted an interview with Alex Cox after the shooting death of Charles Vallow. Now, during that interview, he told investigators Charles was a hothead.
license.
Do you have your CCW?
Yeah.
Okay, so so he's basically coming at you and he's yelling. You're watching his body language.
Yeah.
And you said you told him, and I didn't. When we're talking, I'm not going to try to not take notes and listen to what you're saying.
I'm trying to calm the situation.
Okay.
I'm going to drop your bat, and he's you and whatever.
Okay.
Coming at me in.
Did you ever tell him to leave, or did you say drop the bat, or?
First, I just said drop the bat.
Okay. And then did you say anything else after that?
I didn't have time.
Okay. So he came after you with the bat.
Yep.
He's kind of holding it in his hand.
Got in his right hand.
Okay. You fire a couple times.
Yep.
And then you go to the kitchen.
Correct.
And then back to the bedroom.
Yes.
Okay. When you went back to the bedroom, you washed your hands.
No, I washed
washed your hands in the kitchen.
Yep.
You put your gun back in your room.
Yep.
Where'd you set it at?
Just on the floor.
Okay, so you set it on the floor. Get your phone.
Yep.
Call 911.
Yep.
And then, when did you realize Lori had gone? Did you call her?
No.
Okay. So, you called 911. Did you do CPR on him?
I did.
Okay.
I tried.
Okay. But you weren't on the, I must have mistaken you. I thought you said you were on the phone when
Oh, yeah, no.
Did you hear them arguing about his phone?
I don't. All I heard was her say, don't touch me, and then him coming right after her.
Okay. You said that a couple months ago, Tylee was at your house, and he came over. What happened? Tell me a little bit more about that.
He was going insane trying to locate Lori, because Lori wasn't talking to him.
Okay.
They had split up. So he was bugging everybody in the family, blowing up their emails, phones, just sending text messages, just anything he could do to try and get somebody to tell Lori to contact him. So he was just spazzing out. So Tylee and I were pulling up to my house, and he followed us, and then he sped up and blocked my driveway. And he got out and ran up to me real aggressively, like he was going to do something, and he just stopped and talked. And then Tylee got out and yelled at him. And then that lasted, I don't know, 15 minutes in the front.
Okay.
A lot of screaming of Tylee at Charles, and Charles trying to leave and her not letting him because she wanted to get everything out that was bothering her.
Okay. So he didn't go after Tylee at that time?
Physically, he did not do anything.
Have you spent a lot of time around Charles?
Yeah.
Is he hot-headed?
Not normally.
Okay. So have you ever, besides the argument between him and Tylee, have you ever seen him like you saw him today?
No.
Okay.
No.
How would you describe him today?
Very aggressive.
Okay.
Physically aggressive. Going after Tylee, going after Lori, going after me.
Okay.
I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen him behave like that. I was shocked.
Okay. How long have they been together?
15 years, maybe?
Okay.
Oh, a good while.
And did they live here before?
Yeah, they lived here a couple times.
Okay.
They lived here. They lived in Austin. Then they moved. Then they moved to Chandler. Then they moved to Hawaii. Then they moved back here. And then I think they split up. And then she went to live with in Houston for 2 months, and I wasn't working out, so then she came back here and got a place.
Okay.
And then he was just coming back out here.
And he got a place, or she came back out here and got a place. How long ago was that?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Within 2 months.
Okay, so the last couple months.
We'll have more of Alex Cox's police interview coming up, but first we have this update in the battered and burned murder retrial in Michigan. A jury has now been seated in the case against Linda Sturmer. The panel consists of 8 men and 7 women.
She is accused of beating her husband back in 2007, setting him on fire, and then running over him with their van. Now, her first trial ended in a conviction, but was later overturned after her attorney said she didn't receive a fair trial. Opening statements in her retrial is set to begin tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. You can catch that right here on Court TV.
We need to take that break now. When we come back, we're going to have more of Alex Cox's police interview in the cult mom conspiracy case. He tells investigators he never considered Charles Vallow to be violent or a threat until the day of the shooting.
And new motions are filed in the Idaho student murders case of Brian Kohlberger. Court TV's Cody Thomas will have an update next, so keep it here on your front row seat to justice.